Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Country with the weekly comic book roundup. Now, first things first. I know earlier in the week I stated out that the Beyond report for this past month would be up yesterday. I wasn't having the best day, and so I just kind of opted not to do it. I'm going to try and get it up tomorrow. However, either way, I'm going to try and get it. I'll try and get it up soon. I'll put it that way. Soon. Not specify any certain day, but yeah. Anyway, on to this week's roundup. We don't have the biggest haul this week. It's kind of a good thing. So let's get started. Kicking things off, we got Marauders number 27, which is currently the last issue of the series. So all the X books are ending, sort of. So I think number 26. Iceman fought Fin Fang Foom and whooped his ass. So the issue begins at Forge's lab with Kate leaning against the gate. Basically asking if there's been if he's had any, opportunity to do anything about her problem, that she can't use the gates. And apparently he's still working on it and believes that science has the answer. We then switches to focusing on Emma, talking about how everything that she's been up to during since House of X. Apparently she's telling all this to Lourdes Chantel. Lourdes then explains that she took basically the fresh start that she was given through Wilson Fisk goes put to use in the financial world. She climbed the ladder and was successful. When she got when Xavier put out his broadcast, she began kind of working towards, moving to Krakoa, to Krakoa. We then turn to focus on Bishop and Pyra, who are impersonating a pair of arms dealers. Mr. Nobody and Mr. Blade. They apparently mean to sell 3 mothballed helicarriers to the Verendi government. Though one of the 3 crashed into the ocean. And so, but they haggle, hey, 2 helicarriers and salvage rights on the crashed one for $8 billion. Then the real Mr. Nobody, Mr. Blade show up, and they're rescued by the Marauder. In Lowtown, we learn that Wilhelmina Kensington, a former member of the Verendi government, has had her bank account emptied by her former compatriots, and she's attacked by a Reaver, by one of the Reaver assassins. However, Callisto kills the assassin, and as she and Wilhelmina are disposing of the body, Wilhelmina states that she wishes she could change everything about her clothes, her face, so she has to disappear. And Callisto mentions she might just know a guy. And so she goes to so Callisto takes Wilhelmina to the soon-to-be renamed Moira McTaggart Memorial Hospital. And Mask rearranges her face. We don't actually see how the face looks. And Mask states that while she still has looks, Wilhelmina's mom wouldn't recognize her now. Though Wilhelmina states that she walks off that she can't recognize her because Wilhelmina pushed her out the window. To which Mask responds, "Atta girl, I only knew you for a few minutes, but I'm gonna miss these exchanges. Good luck, kid." Lourdes is returning to the Hellfire Trading Company, and she decides that wants to be the Black Queen, not the White Queen. And Shaw accepts. Saying it'll allow him to concentrate on the Quiet Council, or perhaps his attention has been divided. He asks that she retain Shinobi, however. And Lourdes states that she's letting Mutant come back into her life, but not Shaw. At the battle between Verendi and the Marauders raging on, and we learn that Iceman's on sabbatical at the moment, and when he returns, he and Christian are going to be taking a vacation to Ibiza. And though I think they get their realms wrong, but maybe it's just, it states that Iceman's in Niflheim fighting frost giants, though frost giants are from Jotunheim. But he's actually really doing a good job of it, and they're kind of he's asked, one of the frost giants asks him why Iceman's making war with them, and he simply says to see if he could, and adds that it's a little payback for invading Earth. Don't do that again. But also turns out that Pyro is planning to leave the Marauders crew. The idea he's got a book tour coming up. Bishop's sticking around, but everyone else seems to be leaving. Emma is stepping down as White Queen of the Hellfire Club. And the Cuckoos are taking over. The idea will be that the one in white will be the queen that day. Then we get some. There are some memos and email transcripts to go over as well. The first one is a letter from the X desk about the helicarriers. And then apparently, Agent Ramirez had an orchid left on her desk. No, there was a card attached. It seems to have gone missing, so she's not sure who to thank. It seems Orcus may be planning to recruit her. There's some emails between Shaw, Shinobi, and Lourdes. Basically, it's Shaw trying to be a cunning bastard. At the Baxter Building, yes, the Baxter Building, Mr. Fantastic has a late night visitor. Though we learn that how deep into the FF's home has become. How deep into the FF's home can you get is a popular game with a leaderboard and wager slips at the bar with no name. But Kate goes to see him. He is one of the biggest, the most well-known scientists in the Marvel Universe, so she wants to see about her problem. Explaining that she can't use the Krakoan gates. But he explains he wants something too. He wants the knowledge that was chiseled and stolen from his mind by Charles. Back in the end of the X-Men Fantastic Four miniseries, Xavier removed the knowledge of how to make I think they were nanites, maybe, that basically kept a mutant gene, an X gene inactive, so that Franklin couldn't use the gates. But Kate brings a pair of Krakoan flowers, states that maybe they can help each other, and that is where the series ends for now. That last bit, I got to say, really does kind of make me think about a theory I read on online recently about that maybe Reed is a part of Orcus, but we'll see. It could just be he knows something was taken from him. And he wants he knows knowledge was taken from him, and he wants that knowledge back. But well, like I said, all in all, though, a good conclusion. We got we know where everyone's off to. Meanwhile, moving on to our next book, though, we got X-Men Legends number 10. So, we don't get a. Okay. So this happens after X-Men number 34 from 1997. Okay. So, Sinister's brought together a group referred to as the Eighth Circle. That group consisting of Beast, Charles Xavier, Moira McTaggart, Magneto, and Amanda Mueller at the Black Womb. The basic idea is they're going to discuss, mutant and humankind relations, and basically trying to figure out ways to make sure that mankind doesn't wipe out mutant kind. However, it turns out that they're all clones and not entirely stable. They last 3 hours, as Magneto promptly falls apart. Beast and Moira try to figure out a way around it, with Beast going through his various forms up to that point. But it turns out that the X-Men, including Beast himself, have shown up outside of Sinister's lab in Nebraska. And then, after Beast's death, Amanda Mueller points something out to Sinister. His clone tanks operate in pairs, and the real Mr. Sinister is actually in Hawaii fighting X Factor, as shown in X Factor 104 and 105. But there was some knowledge from Project Black Womb that Mueller sent out and gathered up, and Sinister tries to make sure that it gets to the real Sinister before the little experiment is done away with and Sinister himself dissolves. And that is where the issue ends. An interesting issue. It was touted in some ways as being a kind of gathering of a mutant version of the Illuminati, which I can see that definitely. It definitely has that feeling at first, until of course, it turns out that everyone there was a clone. But anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Devil's Reign Superior 4, number 1. So, for his help, in exchange for helping Wilson Fisk in the beginnings of Devil's Reign, Otto Octavius was basically allowed to pilfer the Baxter Building, which he's done so, going so far as, but he's found multiversal versions of himself. A version of him that's Ghost Rider, a version of him that's basically Hulk, and a version of him that's basically Wolverine. In a clear nod to the to the Superior Spider, or to the New Fantastic Four, and Otto's time as the Superior Spider-Man. But they mean to create. Otto means to try and create a council of Ottos. He's heard about there was once there was still is a Council of Reeds, so why not a Council of Autos? They go through Earth to Earth, starting with Earth 5069, the Gutted Gulch. There isn't an Auto Octavius there, and so they leave after taking on Iron Man. But they refine their search a bit and end up on Earth 2902, where they encounter a younger Otto who is basically Spider-Man there and heroic. But and as before destroying him, he states that that the Doc Ock we know and tolerate could have been the best of them all. But there's another on the Atlantis of Earth 7214. Another octopus is considering events. The Supreme Octopus. It's basically Doctor Doom mixed with Doc Ock. This is going to be a fun series, I can already tell. Which is good because Devil's Reign is going to be probably rather dark and yeah. But yeah, so that's Superior 4 down. Issue 1. Solid start. Like I said, it's a mini-series, so we'll see where it ends. Moving on to our next book, we've got Devil's Reign we got Spider-Woman, number 18, which is also a Devil's Reign tie-in, where we left off while visiting her for Lindsay McCabe, while recovering from injuries she received fighting her brother and her brother's new girlfriend. Jessica Drew got to hang out on the set of the movie that Lindsay's in. But after an accident occurred on set, Jess went to see her, bring snacks, but found Lindsay beaten and unconscious. And so now Jess finds her under attack by Puff Adder of the Serpent Society and Coachwood. Couple of D-list villains. With them also is a Thunderbolts officer. But yeah, Jess takes two villains down and then takes Lindsay to the hospital, to find out what's going on. Disguised as the Thunderbolts officer. She wanted to know just who it is that sent them after her, and the guy's surprised that she doesn't know. Asking, didn't you read the news? Apparently, Jess only skims the headlines. But she finds out that Wilson Fisk is involved. Then she goes to Gracie Mansion to deal with, to talk with Fisk. The talk turns into a fight. And it's revealed that the previous day, Wilson Fisk went and found someone who actually had some interest in Jessica, who had nothing but time and ever so much interest. And someone he'd been saving for a rainy day. The Skrull Princess, Varank, who had been held prisoner ever since the end of Secret Invasion by Norman Osborn, as a trophy of sorts. And yeah, Fisk has sent Varank after Jess to make her life hell again. And so Varank goes to but it turns out that Varank was masquerading as the Thunderbolts officer that Jess dealt with earlier, and opts to go and spend some time with Jess's son, which is where the issue ends. Okay, that was interesting. That's not something I honestly expected. I remember reading the issue initially and thinking just like, okay, who were they? Like, does Spider-Woman even have a rogues gallery? I mean, nothing against Spider-Woman. It's just like, she's not exactly known for her robust rogues gallery, like at all. Like most of her rogues are, really just characters who've fought everyone else a billion times. It's like, may as well. But yeah, Varank, however, yeah, that definitely fits. It would be interesting to see if something is done with Varank after this, having her maybe return to space, take perhaps even made somehow made to be a subject of the new ruler of the Skrull Empire and the Kree Empire, Hulkling. But we'll see what happens there. And moving on to our last book for the moment, we've got Daredevil, Woman Without Fear, #1, and this is actually not our last book. I forgot that I had added something else to this. So yeah. Okay, so Chip Zdarsky's on Daredevil. Daredevil was accused of murder and was tried as Daredevil, found guilty. Of course, Matt wanted to make sure someone was still patrolling Hell's Kitchen in his absence, and so he got Elektra to do so, namely having Elektra, basically, hey, no killing. In Devil's Reign #2, she went to the Kingpin, who stated that he had given his file on her to someone who had an interest. But she goes to see Matt, and she starts thinking about her past. We see some of her training with Stick when she was 12. Then she was told to go to where she first was supposed to recruit Matt Murdock into the Hand, so Columbia University. She runs into a former classmate of hers and Matt's, and they go for coffee. They talk. And she sees someone that she's surprised to see, a young woman named Aka, who recruited Elektra into the Hand. But so Elektra follows her, ends up in the woods, but Aka isn't there. However, we see some more of her training before joining the Hand, and then she's given her first assignment, recruiting Matt Murdock. But she drives away from the location. She swerves to avoid hitting a deer, goes off the road, but she discovers there's a dart in the tire of the car she's using. But we find just who it is that's stalking her. Kraven, the Hunter. And that is where the issue ends. Okay, interesting. So Kraven's going after Elektra, which explains why Kraven was shown after that sequence from Devil's Reign #2. Moving on to our actual last book for the moment. Star Wars Bounty Hunters, #20. Where we left off, Tonga and Losha were trying to track down Cadelia. They're hoping their initial plan was to have Valance take him straight to her. But Valance got captured by the Empire at the end of War of the Bounty Hunters. So Zuckuss suggested, why not have Forlom do it? He's, honestly the most skilled slicer in the galaxy. There's just that slight problem where Forlom is currently programmed to kill Zuckuss. But Zuckuss reveals that he's been keeping tabs on Forlom's location via a tracking unit. And so, they found Forlom in the wreck belt orbiting Lothal Minor. They go aboard the ship. Turns out that there's an effigy of Zuckuss that's been made there and seemingly attacked brutally on multiple occasions. But Zuckuss runs into Forlom. On Corellia, General Vakora shows up to speak to the leader of the clan Unbroken. But Vakora then kills the leader and takes the title Grand Leader. He states to send a transmission to Lady Kira, let her know that the Unbroken clan is in the fold and that they await the dawn. But back with Zuckuss and Forlom. He does what he can. He stops Forlom from going after the rest of the bounty hunters, and does manage to incapacitate Forlom and remove his head. And upon reactivating Forlom, Forlom is back to normal. But apparently the Crimson Dawn communication beacon was tapped, and they know who did it, the Bandit Bounty Hunters, and so Deathstick has Dengar sent out to take care of the crew of Bounty Hunters, who has been read out of his love Manaru, and that is where the issue ends. I figured that Dengar had survived the event, everything that happened to him in War of the Bounty Hunters, but it's good to see it actually come to be true. Anyway, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.